welcome back to the Tea and a Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And yeah, we're back, aren't we? After what seems like a long time.
Years later, yeah.
Years later. It's only been a couple of months, though. I think
it's been a few months, yeah.
It's been a few months. Well, it's been since December. I think we signed off in December.
Yeah.
And we told everybody we were going to have a little bit of a break, and then that turned into an extended break. An extended stay.
I kind of don't
at a
think
motel.
We did tell anybody we were going to have a break, unless you follow us on social media.
Oh, or on Instagram. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we signed off. We didn't say anything in the... So if you don't follow us on social media, you just listen to us here, then... You've probably been wondering, where have you been? And we've just randomly popped back up. Well, we're back.
Yeah. Our patrons know.
Yes. Our patrons know.
That we've had, we had a few hard months.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just kind of got to be a little bit too much.
So we thought we should...
And so we just took a break.
Focus on things.
Take a break for our mental health.
Break.
Take a breath.
Just, and sometimes you just need a break, and I'm sure you do as well, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, work and, whatever you do, break is needed, you need to step away for a little while, but we're back.
We don't really like to get into our personal lives
too much
on this podcast.
Because we're going to be doing videos soon. We keep saying that. We've been saying that for years now. So we're going to be doing videos soon.
Yeah, I mean...
we're not going to be showing...
I was going to say, you're making it sound like we're going to get personal on the videos.
No, we're not. No, because, I mean, you see a lot of YouTubers who do, like, family and home vlogging and, they open up their lives. And there's nothing wrong with that. They can do that if they want to, but they open up their lives to a lot of people's opinions and whatever,
And we have no interest in that.
And it's like, we just come to, like, entertain you. And I mean, that's them entertaining everyone. But it's also, people think they know them and all that.
I mean, I have no idea how successful we are at actually entertaining you, but we like to keep things light.
We are very successful and light.
We like to just talk about...
Light-hearted.
Things we're interested in, things we're doing.
Oh, yes.
A lot of it tends
things
to
we're watching.
Be... In case you're new here, for some reason... This is the very first podcast you've ever heard of ours.
Yeah, it's like the very first. If you're new here, follow us on social media.
Yeah, we are at TeaButty, TeaButty on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Oh, yeah, Facebook. Remember that? We haven't got we do have a TikTok, but there's only like 2 videos on there.
Yeah, and I think
we're Tea and a Buddy on there, so if you want to go follow us on there, go ahead.
Yeah, we plan on doing more TikToks, but we'll get into all that some other time. Our plans for the future.
World domination. Our plans for world domination.
But if you are new here, welcome. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, thank you for tuning in.
He's Dominic. I'm Erica, as we said before.
Yeah.
We tend to do a lot of British versus American. We have done like British, just like full on British versus American.
Because our marriage is British versus American.
Yes.
Every day is a struggle of like, what's the right thing to do?
No. Every day is a struggle, just full stop.
Full stop.
That's the end of the sentence.
So hey, I thought you didn't want to get too personal on here now.
Every day.
Just wait for those vlogs, eh?
The end. Goodbye. No, but like you said, Dominic's British, I'm American. So sort of all of anything we talk about is British versus American, if you get my meaning.
Yeah.
We just tend to
We've been married now for 40 years.
Yeah.
And
feels like it sometimes.
What's it been now? Almost 11, isn't it? 12.
I don't know. Yeah, almost 12.
12 years. 12 years.
Yeah.
And we still have, like, cultural differences.
Still haven't killed each other yet.
Still haven't killed each other. It's come close a couple of times,
No, but, you wouldn't really think, because we're both English speaking... and our cultures on the outside seem to be pretty much similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, the UK and the US, I mean, when you read, like, anything to do with that, like when you see something on YouTube about it, and it's just like, well, wait a minute, this, like you say it all the time, like, oh, British people are always going on about how they queue and how they wait in line and stuff. So Erica goes, oh, we do that here too. And it's like, yeah, but in Britain, there's kind of like this kind of like weird culture surrounding it, and it's become a thing,
I mean,
but over here, it's just,
it?
yeah, it has. I mean, I don't know if that's because of the internet and because, maybe American tourists coming over there going, oh, what's this queue for? Why is everyone queuing? And what's the queue etiquette? And what's
oh my
a
God,
queue
we
mean?
really cannot get into this
We
because
can't,
you know how I feel about this queuing.
Yes, I'll trigger her now.
I become very triggered.
Talking about the line,
and it's a
everything.
podcast unto itself. Okay, but
Yes.
the point is that most of our conversations tend to be British versus American, just because we are British and American. So we don't funnily see eye to eye all the time on things, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that
with you being British, mate.
with the
you don't know what you're doing over here, mate.
It's just the fact that we're from two different places that seem on the outside to be quite similar, but really when you get down to it, they're very, very different places with very different ideas. We grew up in different places. We were brought up different ways, and it's just like, I mean, you could argue that the same is true for any couple anywhere.
Yes,
whether they are both from the United States or both from Britain or whatever.
Both from the United States. Someone could be from New York or New Jersey or somewhere on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And someone could be from California or, Washington.
Oh, East Coast, West Coast, don't even.
Yeah, and they get married.
Don't even bring that up.
It's like the North-South divide in Britain, It's like Northerners, and I didn't grow up like that, and,
Yeah.
I didn't do that when I was a kid. I was always at the beach or whatever, With my mummy.
Yeah. Okay.
With my mummy and my daddy. Because I had loads of money.
Apparently. Anyway, our discussions, I don't want to make it sound like we're arguing all the time, because
we're always arguing.
That's not what this podcast is about.
Yeah, I know. We saved that for off the podcast. We don't want to. We don't want to fill our time with just arguing all the time. This isn't the Real Housewives of Austin or whatever.
We're in Austin, by the way, if you are new here.
Texas.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's what we're all about. We just talk about whatever we want to talk about, and then it tends to become, how does a British person feel about this subject? Oh, how does an American view this subject? And so it's a little bit of like a debate sometimes, or, things like that. It's always meant to entertain. We try to steer clear of religion and politics and all these controversial subjects, because, you get enough.
You get enough of that from the news and other places on the internet.
Just online. Oh my God.
Social media is flooded with that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. People,
arguing about things.
It's funny because on Facebook I follow this guitar site, and they put up something about the gas prices.
Oh, geez.
And that triggered everyone. And then he had to come out and says, yeah, I probably shouldn't have posted that funny thing about the gas prices.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not the place,
Yeah. And the same is true for, you mentioned the gas prices, so we kind of have to mention what's happening in Ukraine now, because that is the reason for the gas prices. We try to steer clear of, like, any sort of, like, big news topics, too, like that are, like, I don't know.
We try, as we said, as Erica said before, we try to keep it lighthearted and fun, because there's too much of that negativity and stuff in the world, and we're all about positivity, man. But it's like we sometimes, like, as we said, we took a break. It was rough few months and everything, and that's a bit negative, but. We try and be positive. We try and remain upbeat.
Yeah.
Because you've got to laugh, haven't you?
Well, I think that's why we had to take the break, right? Because we were talking about this podcast, and we were talking about coming back and doing this, and there's been plenty of things that we could make episodes about and stuff in the time that we've been gone, but we just didn't feel like we were going to be able to sit down and kind of laugh and talk about things in a lighthearted way when there was kind of heavy feelings about things going on.
Heavy feels.
You know?
Yeah.
And there still is, like, heavy stuff going on in the world.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and
there's always going to be.
Not to diminish, as I said, not to diminish it now, but there's always going to be, unfortunately, it's never going, and this is a little bit negative or pessimistic or whatever you want to call it, but there's never going to be, like, complete and utter, everyone's happy with
rainbows and sunshine.
Rainbows and sunshine, everyone's happy with what's going on, you know? Because if there were rainbows and sunshine, someone would be complaining about it. It's too much rainbows and sunshine.
Yeah.
We need more this.
And a lot of people who do, like, what we do and who have, like, large-ish social media followings and stuff, not to say that ours is large.
We are currently climbing on 200 billion subscribers.
They feel pressured to comment on things that are going on in the world, like big news topics and stuff. And this is not to say that we will never do that, but we try not to. I don't agree with people having to comment on things that maybe they are not super well informed on. And I see this on Instagram all the time, like people's followers going, you haven't said anything about such and such that's happening. What are you have an obligation to comment on da-da-da. And it's just like, well, do they? I mean.
Do they though?
You know what I mean? Like, we still know it's happening, right? We all know it's happening. We all know
like,
it's a terrible thing. I'm not a political
commentator. I'm not, it's like, it's very sad what's going on. That's my thoughts on it.
It's scary.
It's scary what's going on. And it's like, I'm not going to be, I don't feel like I have this responsibility to tell people what to do.
Well, I think if it's
about
not
it and how to feel about it or whatever,
I think if it's not your job, if it's not the thing that you are well informed about and that you talk about all the time, I think commenting on it can sometimes be irresponsible.
Yes.
And it can also lead you to say something that ends up like just
being taken out of context.
Or just pissing people off.
Well,
or
that's it.
It's just wrong. Just altogether wrong because you're not completely informed. And then you've opened yourself up to everybody going, oh, you idiot,
Because I don't think there's anyone out there saying, well, we're not going to listen to T and a Buddy because they're not talking about Ukraine all the time.
Yeah.
Or they're not talking
about...
It's
like, tune into NPR. Tune into BBC, It's like
the BBC.
You'll get all the information you need, I mean, I have no problem, like, saying if you want to help, we're using Ukraine as an example at the moment because this is something that's going on as we're recording this podcast. But I have no problem with people on social media and stuff who want to, like, here's a phone number to call if you want information on how to help, or here's a website to go to. It's like fine. But for them to be like made to comment on it
by a follower that, well, I find it very
it's just like who are we to comment on it? I don't
Ukraine.
know. That's my opinion. Anyway.
Yeah, we're not gonna. There's more. That stuff is being commented on
by professionals
adequately. I think.
Yeah.
But
anyway, yes, we've
moving swiftly along now.
We've gone on a little bit of a rant there, but anyway, so we've been gone. We're back.
We've gone. We're back, and you just got to deal with it. It's our world. You're just living in it, okay?
What have we been doing the past few months?
We've been watching a lot of TV, haven't we? We've been watching all the TV. It's like we've been stuck in a room with just a TV. Yeah. That's it. That's all of it. That is all it, everyone.
Oh my gosh.
And what have we been watching? You are dying to know what we've been watching.
Like I hope you guys tune in to listen to us to escape from reality for 40 minutes or however long our podcast is. We do the same thing in television, and
yes,
you know.
We get into a show and we get into another show, and it's just, yeah.
And there's a lot of good stuff out right now. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is what we're watching.
And we're watching, the first one on the list is Peaky Blinders.
Yes.
Peaky Blinders.
But I can already hear a lot of American listeners going, how are you watching Peaky Blinders?
Well, we're watching it on Netflix.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are. We're watching it on Netflix, not the latest season, no.
Yeah.
But, you know, the other seasons.
Right.
And Peaky Blinders is coming to Netflix soon now that season 6 is over.
Yeah. So we're not going to spoil anything for you guys.
No. But a lot of it, you know, that's the thing I wanted to talk about. I don't think it's as popular over here as it is in the UK.
Peaky Blinders?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's, you know, it's got a cult following, but I don't think it's as massive as, say, Downton Abbey and all that was, you know.
Well, I think maybe some of that...
In terms of British shows and stuff, you know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Bridgerton, like, if you could call Bridgerton a massive show, Bridgerton is pretty popular.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of period.
I mean, let us know if you guys watch Peaky Blinders. I have heard people say it's too violent for them. Like, they don't want to... But is it more violent than, like, Game of Thrones, for example? I don't think so.
I mean, not really, no.
No.
I mean, you've got to be
the
kind of
into
the...
are quite thick. Maybe they can't understand it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of like that.
Just put the subtitles on.
Subtitles, yeah, all that kind of stuff. But I think... You know, like, a lot of people thought The Sopranos was a great show, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think Peaky Blinders is up there with it. And, you know, it ticks a lot of boxes, actually. You know, it kind of, like, does what Bridgerton is trying to do, you know, except it's stuck in its own
You're comparing genre. Peaky Blinders to Bridgerton.
Hey, did you see that last second season of Bridgerton? That was something else, that was. No, but it's like, it's a period drama.
Right,
It's a gangster epic. Mm-hmm. And it's also, you know, it's got a lot of, like, strong female leads.
Yeah.
And it's got, you know, a Tony Soprano-ish character with Tommy Shelby.
Mm-hmm. A conflicted type
Conflicted, you know, I don't know what I'm doing, you know, and it's talking about the First World War and everything, and about how that affected people coming home from it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like...
I don't know, have we done a Peaky Blinders-centric episode?
I think we did, but I don't know if we went fully in depth of it, you know, we were just talking about it. Maybe we have, I mean, you know, so, you know...
If you are wondering how we are in America and how we are watching the current season of Peaky Blinders, this is not sponsored, and you will know already if you have listened to our past podcasts, but we use Surfshark.
Surfshark!
Yeah. You all need to really contact Surfshark and tell them they need to sponsor us, because
All of you need to contact Surfshark and say, T and a Buddy are using your services. You need to sponsor them immediately.
I'm just kidding, by the way. But we use them...
Hashtag kidding, hashtag not kidding.
we use them, and they are absolutely great. It's a VPN service.
It is great. I mean,
where we can make it look like to the internet that we are in Britain, and so then we can go on
BBC's
iPlayer, which the BBC probably is not a fan of.
They don't really like it. No, they've started like clamping down on stuff like that. You know, if you're not in the UK physically, then you're not allowed to do this. You know, I mean,
but you can't, because we do.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's not illegal.
VPNs aren't illegal.
Yeah,
and I think they're trying to make them illegal, but they physically cannot, because it's a privacy issue. It's people want to be private online, or they don't want hackers getting
It's not just to
hackers
watch.
Getting information.
It's not just to watch. This has become a Surfshark ad, VPNs are not just to watch television from other countries, but that is where they are very useful. They also block your IP address
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so that people
So it's very good, you know, people can't just steal your identity basically online.
Yeah.
And you know, we use it to watch BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5. You know, we can't watch Sky on it because that's a subscription service, but the BBC, ITV, they're terrestrial TV, so they're free to watch in the UK.
If we watched Netflix on the computer, which we never have for some reason, but if we watched it on the computer, we could also watch UK Netflix.
Yeah,
we have not done that yet. But
we can turn it on. That's one of the benefits of it. You know.
Yeah.
We haven't done that yet. We'll have to try that tonight, actually.
So that is how we've seen the current season of Peaky Blinders. As we said, it was fabulous. We will not spoil it for you. Because it'll
season
be
6 was good, and there's going to be a film coming.
It was good, but it was short. I'm really annoyed.
Oh, well, they're all short, really.
They are British
6 episodes.
shows.
I mean, they just don't have the budget for it, so you've got to cram as much.
Is that why, though? Is it really why?
I think it's just because, you don't want to be watching a show forever.
You do, though.
No.
you really do. Anyway.
6 episodes, short and sweet, it's over,
No.
Bonk.
Very annoying. Okay, next to the next show, Dominic's already mentioned
Bridgerton!
Yeah.
Which is a big favourite amongst the Anglophile community, I think,
Yeah.
And the Jane Austen fans,
I think, I will say, again, we won't spoil this for you if you haven't seen it. Bridgerton comes on Netflix, by the way.
Season 1 was huge, thanks to the Duke in that, the Duke of Hastings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And, it was...
He's not in season 2.
He's not in season 2
which
at all.
everybody threw a fit about.
And it's like, well, he wasn't in the second book or whatever.
Yeah. We have not read the books, so... Maybe you've read the books and you already know everything that's going to happen, but...
it's a different story in season 2.
Yeah.
It focuses on Anthony Bridgerton, doesn't it?
Yeah, who's the eldest brother, Lord Bridgerton.
Lord Bridgerton, yes.
Yeah, and basically the fact that he needs to find a wife.
He needs to find a wife so he can
start having kids.
Having kids and having a lineage,
Yeah.
Because, that's what it's like in, like, like the royal family do that too, I mean, it's that old style of way of doing it. So it's like, I must find a wife and all that, and so, that follows him.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. Yeah, it was a pretty good season.
In my opinion, it was better than the first season.
Oh, yeah.
The story was...
They toned down certain elements. But
the story was a better story. It wasn't so predictable. The first season of Bridgerton... I
actually was a little bit like, oh, is he or isn't he gonna do this,
Yeah.
Massacre all those people.
Yeah. I felt like the first season of Bridgerton was just something to watch. Like, I wasn't that invested in it.
It was a little bit... fan fiction-y. I don't know.
Something.
It was something kind of like, oh, someone's just had this idea to like rip off Jane Austen and make it modern.
Modernize it, but not.
Make it hip and cool. Yeah, not at the same time, yeah.
It was very, like, beautifully shot. And the costumes are absolutely
going back
gorgeous.
To Peaky Blinders, the cinematics in that were the cinematography in that is brilliant too.
Oh, yeah. Same thing. Costumes are gorgeous. Yeah, everything's... The sets are absolutely gorgeous in Peaky Blinders because it's, like, 1930s and... It's just everything's very opulent. Bridgerton, you have all the colors and everything looks like cupcakes. I don't know.
Cupcakes, very delicious. All the cake,
lots of eye candy. Anyway, Bridgerton season 2, great. We definitely recommend that one.
Go watch it now.
The next show is also in its second season currently.
Yes,
and that is Picard.
Yeah. Star Trek Picard, which sees Patrick Stewart reprising his role as Jean-Luc Picard from The Next Generation. Again, this is another one that's better than Season 1, in my opinion. I mean, Season 1 was a little bit... I mean, if you're not a Star Trek fan, you don't know what, but Season 1 was very oddly paced and the story was a little bit out there.
Hang on, let's talk about that for 1 second. If you are not a Star Trek fan, can you watch Picard?
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
are you gonna...
But you're not going to get all the references and all the callbacks and all the little Easter eggs that they've hidden in there. I mean, I'm not even getting all of them. I have to rewatch all the episodes just to get every last one of them, because the production designers are huge Star Trek fans. They want to call back to the legacy of the Next Generation, and they've got Jerry Ryan reprising a role as Seven of Nine from Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah.
So there's callbacks there, and people are expecting to see all the characters, but this is really a show about Picard, and he's got a great supporting cast around him now, of people. And I think it's, you can watch it, you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And you can enjoy this season too.
Are you,
but you don't,
I think you can understand, too.
It could be, it's a very good introduction to Star Trek, and it might, well, I should go back and watch Next Generation. I should go back and watch Voyager or Deep Space Nine or the original series or whatever, Yeah,
and if you don't care about any of that, then just tune in to watch, what's his name? You know who I'm talking about.
Yes, Rios.
Rios, yeah, but what's the actor's name?
Oh.
He's a Spanish actor, but he's
I had
got
it
a
right
British
then
accent.
and it just went away.
I don't know if he went to school in Britain or what, but
Santiago Cabrera.
That's it. Yes.
Santiago Cabrera.
Is he Spanish?
Yeah.
Spain.
I actually don't know if he was born in Spain.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I
have looked it up, but I can't remember.
But
anyway, he's gorgeous.
Actor, yeah.
You will know him from The Three Musketeers, which was a British production.
I saw people commenting on it, going, oh yeah, on Twitter and stuff like that. I'm tuning in for Santiago Cabrera to Picard and all that. And someone goes he goes, oh yeah, I loved him in Musketeers. And she commented back going, he was Lancelot. Oh, just like, oh God, what? How did I not know this?
Oh, oh yeah. He was Lancelot in Merlin.
Oh, Merlin, that's it, right? Yeah, he was Lancelot in Merlin. Yeah, that's what it was, and not Musketeer. And people were like, oh yeah, he was Porthos.
Athos.
Who was Porthos?
You're just getting everything wrong, aren't you?
I don't know.
But
anyway, he's Rios in Picard, and he's great, and he's very Star Trek, and he's very good. I like him.
I will say that Patrick Stewart seems a little old to me.
Well, they've already filmed the third season, and that's it now. There's no more Picard after that.
I know he's 80, but do you know what I mean? Like, he seems like... I don't know, I'm just not used to seeing him like this, because obviously he was much younger in The Next Generation, but...
30 years ago
But
now.
he just seems like... He seems frail to me, and it makes me feel sad.
Well, he's 80, he's frail,
80, but Paul McCartney's about to be 80 as well.
And I mean...
it's like there's 80, and there's 80 can look different, depending, I
mean, Paul McCartney's not acting, though. We only see him... when he wants to be seen, like touring and whatever,
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure what that means.
But it's like, we could bump into him and you could go, oh, he seems frail,
Yeah.
It's like people get old. Sadly.
We're
all getting old.
Well, yes, everybody gets old. I just wonder, is it an acting choice? Or is this how he is in real life? I don't know.
I think, he's not part of all the action scenes. I mean, he came back to the role. They had to really convince him, because he wasn't going to play. He said, I'd given up after Nemesis. I'm never going to play Picard again.
Yeah.
That's it. I've closed the book on that character.
I mean, it was a crap movie, so...
Well, yeah, no, and it wasn't just because of that, because they weren't going to make another TV show or whatever. He says, that's it. I was happy.
Yeah.
To close the book on it, so they really had to pitch something to him, and so he was like, so he came back on his own terms, and I guess it was like,
he's doing a great job. I'm just saying, to me, he seems like he's definitely 80 years old. You know what I mean?
There was some complaints in season 1 from fans that they were like, oh, he seems more just like Patrick Stewart than Jean-Luc Picard.
Yes. I think that's what I'm talking about.
It's kind of like, because he's been out of the role for so long, but he's been visible,
Yeah.
It's kind of like if Brad Pitt had played Kirk, and that's what got him famous, and then he stopped playing Kirk, and he was Brad Pitt for, in all these other things. And then he went back to the role of Kirk, and they're just like, oh, well, that's just Brad Pitt, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
Not saying Brad Pitt. I think there's other Star Trek shows coming on now. There's Discovery, there's Lower Decks, which I love, which is a cartoon. They've got Prodigy, and they're coming out with Strange New Worlds now about the story of Captain Pike. And Anson Mount does a brilliant job in that, And that's coming.
Who's good in Picard? What's his name? Who plays Q?
John Delancey.
Is that a spoiler? I don't know. I think you've seen it in the previews.
If you've seen the trailers and stuff, Q's coming back.
Yeah, and he's aged very well.
He's stepped right back into the role.
Yeah,
but also he's not known really for anything else.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, yeah,
Picard was a big role for Patrick Stewart, but after he was he was doing other things too, and he was Professor Xavier in X-Men.
Yeah,
he was
great in X-Men.
He was in Extras with Ricky Gervais. He became kind of like well-known figure, this celebrity.
Yeah,
he became an A-lister because of it.
Yeah,
and he started doing stuff. So, but fans, he'll always be Captain Picard to me, and people who it's always a bit more Patrick Stewart than Picard, and it's kind of like. No, he's Picard. He's Picard. He's come back to it. He's Picard to me.
Yeah,
he's just evolved. It is
a better
with Jerry
season.
Ryan being 7 of 9. It's a bit different. The character, it's like she's evolved. The character's evolved.
I feel like she still feels like 7. But anyway, moving on. The next one is Outlander.
Outlander. There you go.
Yeah.
That's not as popular. I mean, it used to be, I think, but now it's like.
What season are we on in
6?
6?
Yeah. So, and this is going to be a short season.
Mm-hmm. And yeah.
And yeah.
I don't know. I just completely lost my train of thought.
Sam Heughan and Katrina Balfe.
Yeah, I mean, we have talked.
We've talked about Outlander before.
I think much to our listeners.
Oh yeah, they got really wound up, didn't they? Started sending us hate mail and everything. Stop talking about Outlander.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear about
Outlander. I think we did
again.
4 podcasts about Outlander. It was really we got into it after it had already been going for a little while, so we had been binging the seasons, and we were well into it.
We were well into it, and then we got to that point, didn't we? It was like Sherlock.
We caught up. We caught up with it.
Yeah. And this season's been good so far. It's a short one because it was filmed during the pandemic, and so restrictions and everything were in place, so they couldn't really film as much as they wanted to. But they've promised that seasons 7 and 8 apparently they've been renewed for 2 more.
Oh yeah,
are going to be longer.
I mean, there's plenty of story to still tell.
Yeah, I mean, she's still writing the books as well. I think
the thing about this show is because it is a period piece. It's like she can just kind of follow along with history and just keep going indefinitely until the main characters are dead. Until they're gone, until they've aged out of the period that she's writing in.
Well, yeah.
But let me know what you guys think if you are Outlander fans at all. For me, I still enjoy it. I still want to tune in. I still want to know what's going on and everything. But it just has not had the same feeling since they've been in America as the earlier seasons.
As in Scotland? Yeah, I mean, I guess she had to do that, Diana Gabaldon, because she's from here.
She's American, yeah.
So she had to relate it back to her own history somehow,
Yeah.
It's like, she could write, she's enjoying writing about Scotland, and da-da-da-da. But it's like, well, actually, I want them to come to America.
Yeah.
And live here.
It would be fun for them, and it is. It's fun. It's fun to see these characters in this period, and the birth of America.
My thing about it is that it's time travel and everything, and it's they haven't really explored that, but they seem this last episode we watched.
Yes.
Like, there's a little bit, we haven't forgotten.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's funny because
we haven't watched it, we haven't read any of the books, and I put stuff out on.
We have the first one, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. I don't know.
On Twitter, and somebody responded to me who we follow, going, "Oh, yeah, I've read all the books. Yeah, just wait for this one." Yeah. It was, it was funny because this morning,
we were walking and we said, oh yeah, they haven't really gone back to the time traveling aspect of the show in a while. You know, it's been a while.
And then we watched this episode and it was like, boop, they did, you know, they they made mention of it, so it was like, yeah, they listened to us specifically.
Oh yes.
Yes. But yeah, no, I've been enjoying this series. I mean, you know, yeah, I am a little bit like, yeah, the action's moved continents now.
Yeah.
But it's like, will it move back, you know?
I'm looking at it a bit too, I think, literally also. Like, some of these characters, the ones who haven't necessarily moved to America permanently, they seem to just keep, and I'm being vague here just so as not to spoil this for anybody who hasn't seen this season yet, but they seem to come back fairly frequently. You know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, like, how often did that really happen? Like, that was a really long trip back then. You know, they had to come over by ship and, like...
Yes, and it's why nobody went home, you know? I mean, it wasn't as long as going to Australia, say, but it was still a bloody long trip.
Yeah.
From the UK down to, you know, over to the US.
Because I can remember, like, the first time we went back to Britain just to visit after you had moved here.
Yeah.
And we were at the pub and there was this old couple there. And when we were going to leave, you know, we'd spent the night visiting with everyone and seeing everyone. The guy, like, shook our hand, or maybe it was when he and his wife were leaving. I can't remember their names.
Oh, maybe.
And he just said, I guess I'll never see you again.
Guess I'll never see you again because it's such a long trip.
Yeah.
You have to get back on the ship now.
No, that's genuinely what he meant, though. You know, like, oh, you'll probably never come back here again. You know,
maybe,
because of the expense, because it is a far... You know, especially because he was quite an older person. So, you know, in his day, it would have been an even longer trip and an even more expensive trip and everything.
I mean, it only really started becoming, like, closer in the last 20 years.
I wouldn't even say, like, the last 10 years even.
Maybe.
I think, it was
a long way.
And I think travel vlogging has had a lot to do with that.
Travel,
Because we can see on YouTube all of these people, like, boop, 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 boop. They're just popping around the world and they're going back home and then they're coming back to Europe and then they're going back home and then they're going to Thailand and and it's just
it's like if they didn't have airplanes and they just had, like, ships. Nah, they wouldn't be doing this so much.
But I think seeing that visual representation of people who are actually doing it and they're home for Christmas and then they get back out again and it's just like it's nothing. It kind of feels like, oh, it's not that long of a trip. Like, I can go over there and I can come back and then I can go back, I
think that's the thing in the UK, you know, someone was saying this. They were like, oh, you know, I meet people and they go, oh, I'm going to Thailand next week. Or I'm going to Bali, or I'm going to Australia. I'm going to India. I'm going to China, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, when I was living, you know, this is from American living, I've never met anyone, you know, so it seems like more people in the UK travel out of the country than they do.
I don't know. When I was little and my aunt was traveling around, it seemed like really exotic and like, oh, she's gone to Singapore. Oh, she's gone to South Africa, you know. Oh, you know, and I can remember my grandma being like, oh my gosh, I hope she's okay. And I don't know when I'm going to hear from her. And oh, the time difference if she wants to call and the cost of calling. And, you know, it was a lot. It was just a lot. Like, even from the time that I was a kid, you know.
Yeah, because, I mean, well, there's still people in Britain that are provincial and they never have left, you know, their town. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it seems that there's more of that over here. You'd find more people who's like, well, I've never left New Jersey. I've never left Texas, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've never left my state.
Yeah.
You know, I went to Oklahoma once, you know.
Yeah.
And that was 10 years ago, you know, but I've never left.
I think, I mean, You say that, I don't know if it's accurate. Maybe for the older generations, but I cannot imagine anyone like our generation who hasn't left the state, you know. I mean, maybe that exists, but I don't know, you know.
Maybe that's changing, you know, yeah.
But I think it is changing, and I think it's changing more and more rapidly all the time, but that's why watching Outlander, you know, this is in the 1700s now, and people who have come to America for one reason or the other, but you know, they're working, they're still in the military or in government or whatever, and I'm going to go back to England. And okay, you know, I can see them
get
maybe
on the
coming.
boat, and it's like what? It's like a 3-month journey back.
I mean, I can see them coming. Like, I can see them coming once, you know, because there's colonies over here and stuff's going on over here, and they maybe need to check stuff out or whatever. But once they go home, like, surely they never came back again.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
People would get sick. They would get diseases. They would die on those ships because the journey was so long and like treacherous. You know what I mean? Like, and she's got people just like, I'm gonna go back to England, but I'll be back. You know, and it's just like, what? I don't know if people travel back and forth between Britain and the Americas that frequently back then.
It wasn't like nipping on a flight. No.
No. I mean, that's the only thing that just, like, kind of jumps out at me is every once in a while I'm like, wait a minute, I thought they moved back to England, you know? Like, they're back again, and then, they're back again, you know? It's like, what is going on?
But yes, I mean...
Yeah. But anyway, moving on to the last show that we're watching.
Show we're watching.
And I don't know if this is actually the last show. We've been watching This Is Us. This Is Us is in its final season, too.
Yeah. That's a great show, too.
That's a great show. But the last one on this list is Killing Eve.
Yeah. Killing Eve. Oh, that's been going now.
I think it's in its 4th season.
4th season now, yeah. So...
I don't know.
Sandra Oh, that was another... Yeah,
that's another one we're
Sandra
watching
O
on
Jodie
BBC.
Comer. Yes.
Yeah, on
iPlayer. I think it comes on Netflix, though. Doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't know what it comes on over.
Or maybe Amazon Prime. I don't know.
I think it was coming on like, I want to say like USA or TNT or
BBC America.
BBC America?
I think it was coming on BBC America because I remember the last episode it said something about BBC America production.
But is it coming on at the same time, or I don't know if it's airing in America right now, but we are watching it on BBC iPlayer.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, as you were saying.
Yeah, it's kind of like a spy comedy drama.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And you know, if you like that kind of thing, then it's definitely for you. Jodie Comer's great in it, Sandra Oh is great in it. I remember seeing it and I thought, oh, this kind of looks like a weird kind of like role for Sandra Oh to be in, you know, she's playing like a MI5 agent in, you know, and in Britain.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and it turned out to be, and everybody started talking about it then, and I was like, oh, well, we've got to watch it now. 'Cause everyone's talking about it. We've got to be in on it. We've got to know what's going on.
Yeah, we need to know what's going on. You guys, that's why we start watching these shows.
Because everybody starts talking about them.
We're like, okay. Well,
and if it looks like a genre that we're interested in, then yeah.
It's like, okay, which streaming service do we need to subscribe to this month now in order to watch the show that everyone's talking about? I mean, we've been watching it. We're in the 4th season.
You've kind of like dipped in and out. You've kind of been like, it's a bit...
The first season was great. I've
enjoyed it, you know.
The first season was great. It was really different, and it was fun, and it was exciting and interesting, and you wanted to watch the next episode. I think the second and third seasons for me have just been hit or miss, and I've felt a little bit sometimes like it was more of the same, and I don't know. This season's been good, though. I think
it's been quite funny. Yeah, I mean it's kind of more of a comedy than a drama.
Yeah,
I'd say, you know, because you know there's quite funny scenes and stuff.
It's not.
You know?
There's murder and stuff.
Yeah,
but it's
murder,
sort of
but
just
it's like it's kind of like, what do they call it? I don't know what they call it. They have a word for it, like, you know, comedy horror or comedy violence. Comedy violence, that's what it is.
It's something like that. Like
it's kind of a bit like a little bit Shaun of the Dead, not Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz-ish.
Yeah.
In its kind of like look at things, you know.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. It's like it can be a bit much, but then you just kind of laugh because it's so
ridiculous.
So absurd.
Yeah.
One of the early scenes of this season particularly stands out in my mind, but let us know if you watch Killing Eve. I have to know
what that scene is now.
I saw Jodie Comer I'll tell you later. I saw Jodie Comer in an interview saying how everybody comes up to her and wants her to do Villanelle's accent, and she's just like, no, I won't do it.
No, I won't do it.
It's just like
because she's from Liverpool. No, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do it, la.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how I would feel like if you've created a character that people are so like into and stuff. I think I would feel kind of flattered maybe if that people were so into that, because
I mean, yeah, she's gonna, she's okay, because she's doing a lot of stuff now.
Yeah,
she was in My Mad Fat Diary, which
that was the first time we saw her.
We saw her with and she played Sophie or something.
Yeah, she was the friend, the best friend. Yeah,
and then that was kind of a hit. That was kind of like a cult hit show.
Mm-hmm.
Then she got Killing Eve, and then she's just started doing roles in pretty much everything now. Oh, she was in that terrible Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
About that thing. That's something we don't recommend.
No.
I mean, she was the only good thing about that.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, let's write a medieval epic. And it didn't really work.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It was boring.
It was boring. Yeah, that was the only thing about it. It was just.
It was like they just wanted to put on wigs and costumes and beards and fight play sword fights. It's like because like a King Arthur type thing. I can't remember what it was about now. It was about some sort of.
They were fighting over her.
Yeah, fighting over her. Yeah, it was just boring.
Adam Driver was in that as well.
Adam Driver too. Yeah, I mean he was pretty good in it too. And I mean, they were propping them up.
It
at
was
the end
just
of the day.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, but it's just like you just wanted to do this,
Yeah,
it was come around and play with my sword. It's like no, it's okay.
Oh my god. Okay, on that note,
on that boring bum note, thanks to Matt Damon, as Jimmy Kimmel would say.
Yeah, what is it? I was just thinking about...
Apologies to Matt
Damon. That's it.
Apologies to Matt Damon. Apologies to Matt Damon, but just don't do that again.
Oh, God, yeah. I'm sure he and Ben Affleck were crying all the way to the bank.
Well, yeah. Oh, that was it, because it was a Netflix film as well. I guess Netflix just gave him a bunch of...
Was it Netflix?
And he was like, let's do a period drama. That'll be fun, won't it?
Oh, I watched Euphoria also, you guys. Dominic didn't watch that one with me, so we won't talk about it. We watched Holding, too, which was a Graham Norton book that they adapted for the ITV. Yeah.
And that was quite good. It was a mini-series, so when that inevitably comes off of ITV and goes to like Netflix or somewhere, check that out. It's based on a book by Graham Norton, the chat show host and comedian.
I love Graham Norton, but it was only okay.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty good. I liked it. So more of that, please.
But anyways, thank you guys so much as always for tuning in. We really appreciate your support. We want to do a special shout out and thank you to Jay Fleshman and Avon Ellis for your continued support.
Two of our patrons. Yeah, so been really doing it.
Really means a lot to us. Yeah.
Yes.
We just wanted to call you by name because we just really appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Sticking with us. And if you have tuned into this podcast, then you've stuck with us too, and we appreciate your support as well. As we mentioned earlier in the podcast, we are on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Butty. TEABUTTY. And be sure and follow us on there. And TikTok. We'll get our TikTok going. But be sure and follow us, especially on Instagram, because we tend to post things on there, like announcements and stuff like that. If we ever go away again for some reason, you'll know.
If you ever need to go away,
you'll know where we are. So, it's handy to follow us on there. We are on YouTube as well. I don't know if we're at T-Buddy or what, but you can find us on
T and a Buddy.
T and a Buddy, yeah.
We've got our faces on there, so you'll see us.
We've got our faces, yeah. So thank you as always, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Yes, we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.